What's up, BoobTube? Josh here, and today I am pulling the transmission on the RX-7. The front bearing on the input shaft has been dying for a while. You can actually hear it driving down the road. So I decided that today is the day to finally pull the transmission and rebuild it. I've never rebuilt the transmission in this car, so it's going to be a learning experience for me, but maybe it's helpful for somebody else that's trying to rebuild a transmission. Seems like a lot of people can rebuild motors. Not very many people can do transmissions, so I'm going to learn as much as I can and bring y'all along the way. Hopefully it helps. I've never rebuilt this transmission either, but it's a lot similar to a Miata transmission, which I've had apart before. So I think the only differences between these and Miata transmissions is like the bell housing and the tail shaft. I think the middle chunk is pretty much the same for like first gen Miatas. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with that. I got the car up off the ground on jack stands, the whole 9 yards. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop in and pull the shifter out. All right, here we go. Oh, and this is part 1. It's probably gonna be a 2 or 3 part video, so I don't know. It's whatever. However long it takes is however long it takes. All right. So first things first, to pull out your transmission, you gotta pull the shift lever out of the turret. I've got a Miata short throw, eBay special Miata short throw shifter on this thing, so it comes apart in 2 pieces. So you unscrew this top part, woohoo, and then pull that out. Ta-da! You get to the turret, got a boot that covers everything. Then you got 3 10mm bolts, and then this comes out. And if this isn't greasy and nasty, then you need to grease it and make it nasty, because then you're not making it easy to shift. So got my impact here, and there we go. And I am gonna don't know how I want to do this. As you can see, it's should be like full of transmission fluid and everything else, so it's kind of nasty. You're gonna find something to set this on, so I'm gonna go carry this out here and set this on a paper towel, maybe. There's none over here. I'm gonna take it over here. There's one. All right, so I got the turret out, and it is resting on race car RX-7, which I haven't even started on yet, because I got to get this other one fixed before I can really work on this, and I got to get that running before I really work on this anyways, because that's gonna pull that car everywhere. So I got the turret out. It's got a little spacer thing in here. I went and put gloves on because, yeah, it's nasty. It's got a little spacer block in here with a block that raises the whole shift thing up, which is how it reduces, because it moves the leverage and everything else, so it reduces the throw. So that's done. Next is to pull the clutch slave cylinder off the transmission itself. So I'm going to go grab the tools for that and get started on that. Alright, so got my impact with an extension on it, 12mm, 2 bolts down in there. There they are, 2 bolts down in there. Removes the slave cylinder. That's all you gotta do. So get after them bad boys. I thought they were 12s. Maybe they're not. Let me go check on that. Alright, so it was 12 millimeters. I just had to stick a ratchet in there to break it loose because the impact couldn't get in there on a good enough angle to keep from spinning on the bolts. So got those out. Now the fun part begins of starting to remove all the wiring for the starter. So next I'm gonna unhook the ground, move it out of the way, and then show you how to undo all the starter stuff, which is usually easier to get to from underneath the car. It's like 2 or 3 things to unhook, and then we'll pull the starter motor. All right, undoing that, and then we'll continue on. All right, so before I climb underneath here, I've got a whole assortment of tools that I believe I will need. It's mainly 10s, 12s, 14s, and a flathead screwdriver. I might have to climb back out from underneath this at some point to grab something silly, but I believe that's everything to get going on this. Oh. So, starter motor, big old fat honking thing. Since, you know, it's from the 80s and everything else. So, yeah, let's go ahead and pull that bad boy off. I'm going to crawl up underneath the car here a little bit better and pull that out, and then I will come back and show you everything. Cool. Alright, so I've got most of the wiring undone for the starter. You got a couple plugs that run to the reverse light, the actual signal wire for the solenoid, fusible ground thingy-mabob that plugs into the starter, and then the actual starter wire, which is this 12mm bolt up here that I haven't pulled off yet, but that's the last thing before you can loosen this. But I got struggles. I gotta get this O2, well, not O2, but narrow band plug out. Either I got to do that or cut the wire for it, which I'd rather not do because, you know. But this exhaust was supposed to have two flanges in it. There's one, and there's not another one. So yeah, that's gonna make it fun to pull the transmission. I don't know how I'm gonna get it out at this point. Hopefully I can loosen it all and like sling it over out of the way. But yeah, I'm kind of disappointed with the guys that built the exhaust. I told them to make sure that there was one before the axle and one somewhere in the middle, and they didn't do that. So yeah, but this has been in here for several years now, so it's done good. I just haven't had to pull the transmission till now. Maybe I won't have to even loosen it. Maybe I can get the drive shaft out and all these heat shields out from around it, and I can drop it without having to pull it, but it doesn't look likely. But we shall see. Hopefully I can. Alright, I'll be back once I get the starter motor pulled out and that narrow band O2 sensor. Alright, so starter's out. It's over there. And yeah, I got some Gibbs. Great stuff. It's soaking into this. I'm gonna give it a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna see if I can't break this free. If not, cutting the wire. To hell with it. I can do this again. I've got plenty of slack to do that if I need to. But anyways, so now that that's done, I'm gonna start removing all these heat shields. Pulled the speedo cable out, and see if I can get by with not having to pull the exhaust. And hopefully that's a go. Yeah, so I will be back, and then probably after that I will drain the transmission, whatever fluid is in it. From the looks of it, it looks like it's been leaking pretty bad. Rotary doesn't leak, transmission does, of course. And all the heat shields keep it from leaving spots. So the backs of all these heat shields, like this right here, you can see where it's ran out of this. It's just nasty. So yeah, that's gonna be fun cleaning up. I'll probably pull them out and wash them. But yeah, so let's continue on down this long, dirty road. All right. All right, so you can see that the transmission's been leaking for a while. So yeah, so it needs to. It's coming out. So I got the heat shield out. Now I'm gonna pull the drive shaft out, which is, I believe, it's 4 14mm bolts with nuts on the back. Fixing to find out as it crawl back there. But yeah, heat shield's out. See the nice brand new Rock Auto special drive shaft. It's held up great. Does great. Doesn't have any vibrations. Yeah, I still don't know how I'm gonna drop the trans with the exhaust in the way. I might actually have to unbolt it, take the header off the motor, which I really don't want to do. So I'm gonna see if I can't stick a jack underneath it, lower it, move the transmission mount out of the way, then lower the transmission on out. It's gonna be a task, to say the least, but should be doable, but we shall see. Alright, I'm gonna pull the drive shaft now. Alrighty now, boys and girls. We are to the point of pulling the transmission. Just looking at it, I think I'm gonna pull the header off of this. I think I'm gonna break these free and pull the header off and just make it easier for me to drop the transmission since I'm lowering it by myself. Maybe if I had a friend or something over here helping me to manhandle it around a little bit, I could probably do it, but with me having to use a jack and everything else to get it to drop, it's gonna be easier if I do it with the header out of the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out, and then I'm gonna drop the transmission. And yeah, so let me get started on that. Well, there's a big hole there now. Got the exhaust ports covered up, and should be nice and easy to get the transmission out now. Now I get to finagle with that for the next, I don't know how many hours that'll take me to get that dropped. But let's get underneath here and look, take a look-see. So taking the exhaust out, that's going to make that a lot easier, so I can just drop the two frame mounts and not have to worry about shimmying it around, and be able to undo all the bolts around the transmission. So they're all 14s. All 4 of those are 14s, so I'm gonna break them bad boys loose, and hopefully the next time you see me, I will have the transmission. Oh, did that just fucking drip on the ground? You motherfucker. It sure did. Next time you see me, hopefully the transmission will be laying next to the car instead of under the car. Or in the car still. But we shall see. It's probably going to be a lot of screaming and a lot of smashing fingers on stuff that I really don't want to smash my fingers on, but gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah. Then I get to push this thing back outside so the S2000 can park in here, because soft tops don't live outside. So then yeah. Alright, so next time you see me, hopefully this transmission will be laying next to the car and not in the car. Alright. Well, that's a hell of a sight. Transmission's out. That was a pain in the ass to do. Check this pilot bearing here and see how it feels. That feels alright. Clutch should be good. It was brand new whenever I put this motor together, or put this transmission on the motor. So yeah. Overall, very ecstatic that that went pretty smooth. That kind of looks loose for some reason. Maybe it's just my angle. I can't really tell. Can you tell? Boob tube. Does that look loose? No, it doesn't look loose. It's just this angle in the shadow. But yeah, so transmission's out. Pretty easy task. I'm not sure. Those all look okay. The throwout bearing's broken. So, dang it, those are kind of worn a little bit, pretty harsh on that side. I'm wondering if that had anything to do with all the noise that I was having. So let's see here. Where's the bearing at? Yeah. So that was brand new when I put this transmission on that motor. So don't know what happened to that, but that's the part that gets replaced. The bearing itself feels fine. It's not making any noises or anything. So this is the reason why the transmission's getting torn apart. I don't know if you can hear that. That's the front bearing. It's pretty done. It needs to come out of there. Plus the 1, 2, and 2, 3 shifts are really stiff. So I'm gonna throw new synchros in there as well. Help this baby out. Hopefully it's a pretty simple job. I'm just touching stuff without gloves on now and getting freaking oil everywhere. But anyways, so this is going to be part 1 of the transmission rebuild series here. I'm hoping to get this done in a few weeks, but we'll see how that goes. It all depends on how hard it is to pull this thing apart. It's heavier than a Miata transmission, I can tell you that. Jesus. I wasn't ready for that. I was like, oh, I can, bench press this pretty easy. So yeah. So be sure to like and subscribe and all that bullshit, YouTube bullshit, if you want to see more. And as always, remember, happy wrapping.